Vi är EU.
We are EU.
Vi är EU.
Me olemme EU.
Wir sind EU.
Jesteśmy EU.
We are EU. Mismo EU.
Somos EU.
Vi är EU.
Mi smo EU.
Jesteśmy EU.
We are EU.
Vi är EU.
Noi siamo EU.
Vi är EU. Somos EU. Nous sommes le EU.
Vi är EU.
It's time to face all enemies.
It's time to rewrite history.
It's time to step up.
To stand tall.
To take the crown.
It's time for a new era.
For the next wave.
It's time to strike fear.
To show no mercy.
It's time to settle this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Welcome everyone to the first ready check of the 2019 League of Legends European Championship season. Now we've seen our team shock everyone at Worlds, followed by the most eventful off-season ever. But now we are ready to kick off the LEC right here from our studio. I'm Sjokz supporter, and it's an absolute honor to be alongside the newest addition to the EU broadcast, Indiana Froskurinn Black.
Just call me the Sjokz Chroma. We've got a brand new season, brand new studio. I am so ready for 2019 LEC.
Me too. And what about that opening? I hadn't seen that. I didn't know what was coming. Oh my gosh.
They're just like, it's a light show. I'm like, that wasn't a light show. That was incredible.
That was incredible indeed. Of course, we have a lot to build on. Worlds was great for EU, so we're hoping that that continues.
Yeah, and it seems to only go up from here. It wasn't just Fnatic that popped off. It was all three of the EU representatives. So I think that EU, you were here. It's time to reach this level.
Exactly. And you guys see it. We have a new studio. Everything is revamped, but some things have stayed the same.
Yeah, it's the fact that you still have kick-ass League of Legends at the LEC, as well as the format and the playoff changes.
Yes, exactly. The playoff changes, you can find those online as well. There is a bit of difference there. We'll go deeper into that. But the bottom line still is who is going to be crowned the champion at the end of the first LEC split. And that's one that I'm very excited about, that race for the top.
Yeah, and it seems like there's much more competitive teams. It's not just, 2 teams and a giant gap. It's now, 8 teams, possibly even all 10 teams if we get this refresh start from teams like Excel and Rogue.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see them. And the next thing brings me great pleasure to say we go into 2019 as one of the strongest regions. Much in thanks to our representatives at the World Championship in Korea. And to tell you more about it, here's Quickshot.
Thank Thank you very much, Sjokz. You are 100% correct. In 2018, Europe stamped their authority on the world, proving once again why our region is one of the best on the planet. Now, it wasn't just Reckless's Fnatic that made the World Championship final that stepped up. It was players like Broxah, who in my mind was the best performing jungler at Worlds, playing alongside Whippo, who had a phenomenal year from a relative unknown to World Championship final in less than 12 months. Fnatic making finals was something for all of Europe to celebrate, but it wasn't all. Because G2 Esports eliminated the pre-tournament favorites RNG. They shocked, stunned, and silenced the world. Because Perkz would be making Uzi sit down and preventing his golden road from happening. It was Perkz that stepped up and showed what he could do with G2 Esports. And the amazing thing is, it wasn't even Perkz that struck down RNG first. It was Vitality that made Uzi cry, led by the Italian stallion Jazuke and the Portuguese powerhouse Attila. They defied expectations, challenging the best on the planet and almost making it out of the group of death. These three teams showed but a fraction of what EU is capable of. I have never been prouder to be part of the European scene. And while we say goodbye to the LCS era, we will be welcoming in the 2019 League of Legends European Championship with one motto and one thing to say. We are EU, and we are here to be feared. I am so hyped for the 2019.
You gave me goosebumps again. Fantastic. And you know what the cool thing is? They did so well, but this is a new playing field, and they all have to prove themselves from day one, week after week after week.
I can't wait to see it.
Excuse me, you're in my office. Can you get out? There's some detectiving that needs to be... Begone. Medius, come, bring the device, bring it, because once again I, Detective Vedius, along with my good Dr. Medius, are here to unravel the greatest conundrum the world, nay, the universe has ever seen.
Oh, but Vedius, last year we solved the mysteries of Reckless, of Yamato Cannon, and even of Nuke Duck himself. Surely no mysteries can be left.
Dr. Leviticus Medicus. Those mysteries were child's play. I toyed with them as a cat toys with the mouse. No, this puzzle is the most convoluted and confounding this world has ever seen. I truly believe its solution will strike fear into the hearts of every LEC fan.
Oh, gads, Vedius, I do not believe such a mystery exists.
Nor did I, until I received this fine telegram not 1 week ago. Here, read it for me.
Oh, thank you very much, Vedius. Let me just scroll this open. Dear Vedius.
Detective Vedius.
Oh, my apologies. Dear Detective Vedius. I'm writing to you concerning a most troubling matter. Recently, my young son has decided to abandon all that is proper and gallivant off on another team. Please may you deduce why he should do such a thing? Signed sincerely, FLICKR.
FLICKR!
Ah, FLICKR.
FLICKR. And so it was that I went delving into the mystery that is Caps. Why would a man leave a team that just made it to the World Finals? Why would a mid laner abandon our glorious boy Reckless?
Oh, Vedius, it seems pretty obvious to me. You know, Caps, once you go into G2, their roster looks pretty stacked, and on paper, they're the best team in the league.
And once again, you give away your ignorance, Medius. You must first try to understand how Caps thinks. Try to get into his psyche. Look closely at Exhibit A. Does Caps look like he's looking at Perkz, or perhaps something more?
Well, honestly, Vedius, I'm pretty sure this picture is fraudulent.
Poppycock! No, as plain as day, Caps is staring not at Perkz, but at the G2 logo.
Ah, of course! Wait, the logo?
Indeed. Now, moving on to my second ingenious discovery, we must hark back to the EU LCS Summer Finals of last year. Do you remember when we were called the LCS?
The LCS, what a foolish name. I do remember them. I remember them quite fondly, as I'm sure does Caps, because he won on that, but what clue can be found there?
Elementary, my dear Medius. I present to you Exhibit 2, this picture of motions.
Wait, Vedius, how'd you get the picture to move?
Never mind that, you imbecile. Watch what is happening.
Well, it appears that Caps almost fumbles the trophy.
That is what it seems to the untrained eye. However, here, Caps is demonstrating his mastery of the Wuju style.
The Wuju what?
Now, if I get quickly, receive my weapon! My weapon? Perfect! My weapon! Many moons ago, I spent 3 weeks in Mongolia, training and mastering this skill shown before you.
Wait, are you trying to say?
Yes, Caps was learning to become one with the blade.
Ah, so he decided to pick up a new hobby.
Medic. Right. Let me draw the veil back even further. I present Exhibit Kappa. What do you see here?
Well, at the moment, I see the League of Legends European Championship, but that appears to be an old image of G2.
Yes, and G2 are known for their propensity towards vacationing.
Vacationing?
Yes, more time to train, my friend. Caps is preparing himself. Now think about it. If you combine the logo, the swordplay, and the extra time, what do you have?
Oh, egads, it cannot be.
Yes, I think you've got it, Vedius. Caps desires to be the greatest samurai the world has ever seen. For he knows that to be like his father, he must abandon traditional arts such as practice and scrims, and he become a master samurai in order to become the greatest league player the world has ever seen. And with that, my work here is done.
Oh, once again, Vedius, you have opened my eyes and the eyes of the world. Caps has joined G2 because he wants to be a samurai. He's been practicing with the sword and will train during the G2 vacations. Well, maybe I should learn a hobby one day. You know, maybe Detective Vedius could teach me. Oh, Vedius! Detective Vedius would teach me!
Well, you know, I thought now that we were the LEC, we wouldn't have to deal with that again, but yet here we are. Vedius, also thank you for joining us, and welcome.
It's my pleasure.
It's your first time on the set.
Yeah, really excited to be here. Very cool set. Really enjoying it. This is my first look at it, actually, and we have a fancy new wall. We have fancy new guests. I can't wait for it. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Now, there's a lot to talk about, and as Dr. Medius and Detective Vedius said, over the past months, we have been seeing some very, very big changes in the off-season, and the most important one, and definitely the most shocking one, must have been Caps joining G2 and Perks moving to the bottom lane position. First up, did any of you see that coming?
I don't think anyone saw that coming. I mean, how can you take one of the best EU mid laners, move him into the ADC position so you can make room for the best mid laner in Europe?
Exactly that. It was a big shock to all of us, but also it left a big hole in the mid lane position for Fnatic, who they had to replace with the up-and-coming rookie of Nemesis. And I know many fans are excited to see what he can do. We've seen a lot of highlight reels already. How much can he fill the shoes of Caps is yet to be seen.
And definitely, and that now sets up Fnatic and G2 together for that battle for the ages. Of course, G2 wants to win. They don't want Fnatic to win every split. They want to take their place back at the top of the league. But there are other teams that are looking to do that, and one in particular is Misfits. When you look at that roster across the lineup, that feels like a possible super team, but that is only on paper.
This is like 3,000 IQ. Just look at the brain power that you have alone. Never mind the technical ability. You have Soaz, you have Gorilla, you have Maxlor. They have everything to succeed.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this roster. You can just see that it's stacked with talent. We even have Gorilla coming over from the LCK. Excited to see what he can do on the stage as well. But we've got a couple of other rebuilding teams in our league as well, Sjokz.
Yeah, that we do, and we have to mention Origin. Origin is back. Of course, when we last saw them, they went all the way from Challenger, then they went to Worlds, then, you know, something we don't want to talk about. But now they're back. A new roster.
Just skip over that part.
Everything behind them. Defisio is, of course, also involved. They brought a lot of big names together for this roster.
Yes, they certainly did. And it's kind of a combination between veteran talent and young talent, with Alfari and Patrick now renamed, joining into a stacked roster of Nuke, Cole, and Mythian. The return of Mythi just brings so many storylines, especially returning to Origin as well. Backed by Defisio, Peke is there as well. So much exciting stuff coming out from this roster.
Yeah, that's true. And for Origin, of course, they want to get back to where they were. They were fan favorites. They were at the top of the league for a year, and that is the aspirations that they are building towards. But I think if you look at all those teams, it's going to be rough for anyone to make it to the top of the table.
Again, that's the exciting thing about the spring split of the LEC. It's not just, you know, two teams and then a giant gap. It's every team seems like they actually have a competitive edge here as these rosters get remade and we have this massive shuffle in the offseason.
Yeah, we have a ton to talk about, and we'll, of course, touch on every team as we continue today and we see our first games, because with the roster changes, there are also a lot of player changes and new possible rookies emerging. And that is why before the spring split, we asked you guys at home to vote in the player rankings ranking where you guys at home, as well as experts, voted for the players expected to dominate in their role.
Yes.
Using that word very loosely.
Very
expert.
Exactly. Now, an expert panel created their shortlist with the top 3 players in each role. Fans then had the choice of adding 2 extra players to the mix, and they could rank those players from 1st to 5th. Now, these are the pros that are predicted to have the overall best performance at the end of the regular season. That's the caveat here.
Yeah, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, it's how you are projected to play. So without further ado, let's take a look at, first up, the top players for each position. And this is that roster. Bwipo, Broxa, Caps, Reckless, and Gorilla.
So welcome to Europe, Frosk.
I was aware this was a Fnatic vote and not a fan vote.
So, Frosk, welcome to Europe. Every vote is apparently a Fnatic
I think
vote.
I just saw this team.
They have a lot of fans. No, really interesting. And, well, the most interesting one for me maybe is Gorilla, because we haven't even seen him play in Europe, but people think he's going to be so good in that support role.
And expectations are that he will be the best support by the very end of the split. And that is high praise and kind of ties into how much of a legacy that he has built up across the world over the last few years.
I mean, it's crazy because you effectively have the team that took 2nd at Worlds, and the one guy the Gorilla's replacing is the support Hilly, who played in that World Championship. So that's super high praise for Gorilla and a very big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and high praise from the fans and the experts alike, thinking that these will be the players that will be at the top of their role. But I do want to dive a bit deeper into some specific roles, namely top lane first. Bwipo is first, that we know already. But in the 2nd place, we have Soaz, and then Wonder is rounding out the top 3. So, well, of course, Bwipo first, we knew that already. What do we make of the rest of the top 3?
Vedius, I feel like if Fnatic had 3 top laners, they just would have voted in all 3 top laners.
You're saying Bwipo isn't actually deserving and so on?
Oh, no, very deserving. But I was just very impressed by Wonder, because I feel like the expectations were a little bit lower for him going into Worlds, and he just smashed them repeatedly.
But I'm also thinking about it towards the end of the split, and the name for me that's not on there is Alfari. This guy was so good last year on an underperforming Misfits, and I feel like because he didn't perform internationally, people just forgot his name. But I feel like by the end of this split, he will easily be competing for top 3 in that position.
Yeah, it is hard when you only have the top 3. I'm also thinking of a Cabo Shard. I mean, you fly under the radar on a team with those explosive rookies, but he held his own so well the entire year, and a lot that we're not mentioning, but this is who you've chosen to be the best projected. Now, the next one I want to look at is one that was a very contentious category, the AD carry. You guys and the experts voted, and this is your top 3. Reckless, Hansama, Perks, followed by Upset and Attila.
That's interesting.
Vedius, is that Perks?
That looks like that's a Perks in 3rd. This is fascinating. Now, reminder that the fans at home had the option to vote here, and they were the ones that decide who put 1st and who to put in 5th. And there was a lot of controversy around why wasn't Upset put in the top 3.
Why
and you
wasn't he put?
Look about it, and remember, you're looking at kind of towards the end of the split, and it feels like that when you looked at Perks, people were either putting him in 1st place or last place.
Yeah.
He was very controversial around how much success he would have by the end of spring.
And frankly, I come from a region that has a lot of ADCs, but I feel if you look at the ADC pool for LEC, it's just like, I've got all these incredible talents. How can I hold all of them? I mean, the fact that Upset comes 4th, this guy is a mechanical god, so could have very easily slotted into the top 3.
Yeah, and that I also think is a testament to all the talent we have in you. The fact that as Upset and Attila, you can have a monster season, but you have so much talents to fight up against. And also, we don't know who is going to emerge in the spring split. We have a humanoid coming in. We have a nemesis coming in. Who is going to be at the top of the tables, we don't know. But one thing is probably for sure, our summer MVP, our mid laner to the stars, now for G2, Caps. Is this the guy that you guys think is going to dominate this LEC season?
A wise man said yes, and I'm going to stick with that. Caps is the greatest player that Europe has right now. He is on fire, not just in Europe, but in the world.
I'm really excited to see what Caps will do in this brand new environment. It will definitely be a different team dynamic. I'm excited to see how things played out, but what surprises me is how much faith people have that Caps will be able to maintain that level of performance, because players like Reckless are hungry. They want to show that they're still at the top of the game, and they want to take that MVP title back from Caps.
That they do. Well, we'll be a bit wiser tonight, because later we will have our match of the day, as a former flagship in Europe is back, and tonight they will challenge the 4-time champions, G2.
If you have the luxury to move one of the best mid laners in EU history to AD carry to make room for Caps, you have too many damn good players.
G2 is definitely the villain.
I think people are underestimating us.
But I'm pretty sure like 99% of the audience is going to be rooting for us.
Left B's down, Goran OG are down, and G2 Ace Royal never give up.
People have no idea what they're gonna get hit by.
We're not just like another team in EU. We are the team. I'm not your enemy.
I am the enemy! I am the enemy! Woo! I'm so hyped for that matchup. G2 are doing a fantastic job as building themselves up as the villains of Europe.
I don't even know where you start to cut into this one. There's so much history, there's so much legacy, there's so many kings, dynasty. Did I get all the words?
I think you're almost very close.
Okay, just stack them all. Okay, I was just making sure.
Oh, Nem, she's infected! No. Well, in any case, but it is true, though. There's so much story between these two teams and even these two players. If you saw the full clip, Perkz didn't hold any punches when it came to talking about Mythy.
It's absolutely brutal. That's the big thing. It's Mythy versus his old team. This was the original, the sacrifice, the stab in the back. Mythy leaving.
Yeah, definitely, and it's so important for G2. They finally want to be back at the top of the table. They want to kick Fnatic and everyone else out. And OG, well, they have a tall order. They need to fight back. They need to regain that place they had in the standings years ago.
And kind of expectations are that G2 is just going to come in swinging. And if you follow the words from Perkz, they're going to come in like a train from the get-go. And what better way to do it than go up against your former teammate in the bot lane to prove that you can easily perform in every single role.
And to make it even more interesting, there will be a POV stream to watch Perkz in his very first professional game as an AD carry. So that's going to be a joy to watch. Of course, a lot more action coming your way today. All 10 teams are going to be in action, and they start their fight for the very first LEC title. Man, that sounds good.
Yeah, and for me, the game that stands out is Sjokz versus Vitality as well. A rematch at the semifinals. And if both these teams come out of the gate swinging, again, it's not just about the G2 and the Origins, about the whole LEC just took a step up.
And I'm quite looking forward to Rogue versus Misfits. And the reason why I say this is because we had a lot of discussion on the Euphoria podcast, Frosk, and we talked about where you can place Misfits early on in the split. And you put them quite low down on your tier list, so we kind of get a first impression of what this team will look like very early on in the split.
If you're ever going to doubt Misfits, I think you can only do it at the beginning. Because again, you look at that super stacked roster, and you have to say that by week 10, they're going to be contenders for the title.
Well, when it comes to tier lists and predictions, you see ours right there, but we have an important addition today. Of course, last year, the superior analyst was Deficio. He is not joining us this year, but we've replaced him with something better, StatsBot. And StatsBot will be challenging us all, as well as the fans at home. He's right there.
So, I think I heard Deficio backstage say, what?
This StatsBot was built by the stats team. It basically forms a lot of algorithms to figure out who's most likely to win the next game. And while you guys didn't see it, it was actually competing last split. And by the end of the regular season, it finished third behind, well, of course, myself and Deficio as well.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys lost to an easy bake oven?
Yeah, we did. So let's take a look at what we all voted. I have a bit of faith in Excel, and I'm happy that StatsBot at least has my back. By the way, since there is no data available for StatsBot to go on, today he has automatically picked a team that had side selection.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going for Rogue and Origin alongside Trevor, I believe.
Yes, I do need to bust Trevor real quick. We got some skin in the game. There's a tattoo bet, an actual tattoo on Euphoria that Trevor and I made. I said G2 would win the split. He said Origin would win the split. So I think he was blinded by his love for Deficio, and he's going to end up with a tattoo.
Apparently not.
All right, interesting. Well, remember that all of you watching at home, you can also join in the vote with your predictions at LOL Esports on Twitter. You're right there. This is what you voted for the matches coming up. Now, we're going to be kicking off the season with a bang as SK Gaming and Fnatic face off in the first game. For more, here's Laure with the two coaches.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. Laure here, really glad to be back, and I was joined with Shippy and Youngbuck ahead of today's first game of the LEC. Thank you very much to you both for joining me. First question to you, Youngbuck. Fnatic is coming here as one of EU's powerhouse. You dominated Europe last year, made everybody proud during Worlds. How hyped are you about facing the new teams coming this year and renewing for some of the old rivalries in EU?
I'm very hyped because in the off-season usually teams actually build new rosters just to beat the current champions, which is us. So there's a lot of people trying to defeat us right now, and just up to us to defend our position as the kings of Europe. Playing against SK is probably going to be a tough one. There's also a long-standing rivalry, and we've heard a lot of things through the grapevine about how strong SK is in scrims. So this might actually be a very tough opening match for us.
Oh, crazy here. And you made some adjustments with the team. Now for you, Shippy, SK Gaming is one of the returning orgs in European League of Legends. So do you think the team has what it takes to get back to its former glory?
Definitely. We've been working every day really, really hard, and I've learned from my past mistakes myself. I could bring a lot into the organization too, and the organization itself is extremely strong and has been around for quite a time. So I think all the tools are there for us to succeed. So now it's just for us to work every day as hard as we can.
And we'll be looking forward to see this. Now, do you have something you'd like to say to your direct opponent as he's standing here today?
I heard that, Nemesis on your team. We actually wanted to have Nemesis as well, so I'm super, super excited to see how he's performing. I don't know anything, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I don't want to spill the beans yet, but he's a really good star.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm looking forward.
Oh, and we'll find out about this soon enough. But first, let's send it back to Sjokz in the studio.
Fantastic. A lot of kind words of the coaches for each other. I also love, Laure, that you brought up that legacy of SK Gaming, because we could call this SK versus Fnatic matchup El Clásico. But if I'm being honest, I do not think this match deserves that moniker yet. Because El Clásico, that is the memory of what SK and Fnatic once were, of times when both organizations dominated esports and faced off time and time again. It is the SK of players like Ocelot, Wicked, Svenskarn, Forgiven, and SK that created tons of historic moments in their matches versus Fnatic, like when they faced off in the spring finals of 2014. It's also the SK Gaming of the Spanish mid lane battles between Ocelot and Xpeke, with some of the most memorable plays ever, like this backdoor right here at IEM Katowice that we all remember. Now, back then, SK and Fnatic were responsible for so much of Europe's competitive DNA. But many years have passed since then, and the SK of today, albeit one of the oldest organizations around, is a rookie to the LEC. Here we see their lineup. They have big aspirations, they have new players, new sponsors, high ambitions, but they have a tall order to follow, because that other El Clásico team has held up their end of the bargain. Fnatic, they dominated EU and the world in 2018, and they look to do the same and more in 2019. And that is exactly why I don't think we can call this El Clásico yet. Fnatic, they're waiting at the top, and it'll be up to this new SK to show us if they can live up to their enormous legacy. It is time for the moment we've all been waiting for as we start the very first LEC season with Fnatic versus SK Gaming.
Thank you so much, Sjokz. Ladies and gentlemen in Berlin, welcome to the 2019 LEC Spring Split. I'm Quickshot, he's Vedius, and we're about to jump into game number 1 of the European 2019 season. I love everything about our Ready Check and the set and the stage. And Vedius, you know I am the EDM grandpa of Europe.
Of course.
Seeing Fnatic and SK, it just warms the cockles of my heart as one of the oldest members of the team, because it even predates you.
Yeah, I remember watching this at home. I remember watching the backdoor live. I remember always seeing Fnatic and SK going at it, but now we get to see some brand new rosters. We get to see the kind of storied Fnatic now going up against the rebirth of SK Gaming, and we're guaranteed to have an exciting game 1 as we kick off the League of Legends European Championship.
I sincerely hope there's a bunch of viewers out there that don't know the Fnatic SK stories, because I plan to tell you them in-game.
He's got his book ready.
I do indeed. Before we get there, though, we do need to talk about the draft. So, Vedius, set us up. Patch 9.1, we're seeing these teams setting up. We've seen a couple of leagues playing already. Both LPL and LCK have a number of games under their belt already, so we've had a taste. But what should we expect from European teams and pros?
So, Galio, Lissandra, going to be very high priority picks for many